In the last episode, we say a really reluctant goodbye to the beautiful Bora Bora and depart on our first international passage. In this episode, we share our passions planning, find out if Yogi still wants to sail around the world, experience a rough, sleepless night, repair Coco mid-passage, catch a fish, and celebrate arriving in Tonga, and much, much more.
Hi, I'm Peter.
And I'm Yogi.
And we're from New Zealand. And we have just purchased a Leopard 48 sailing catamaran to sail around the world.
And we have moved on board and it's our house now.
So of course we're scallywags masquerading as real sailors because we've yet to cross the equator in a sailboat. So we'll get there, give us a few years. But we're having corned beef for lunch, so I kind of think that sort of makes us a little bit real sailors because we're into the corned beef from the bilge. So I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat with you about our passage planning and what part of the world we're in and where we are going with the boat and our thinking about what we're doing with the boat compared to how new we are with it and what we've got to achieve. So we started in Papeete, and then we did our overnight sail to Bora Bora, and then we set off this way towards Tonga, pretty much along that sort of track there. But when we were leaving Bora Bora, we had these stopover options on the way. We had Rarotonga, we had Aitutaki, we had Palmerston, Niue, and Niue. So when we were leaving, we'd only ever done an overnight passage from Papeete to Bora Bora before. We'd never done 4 days at sea or 6 days at sea. And this passage from Bora Bora to Tonga came in between 7 to 10 days was the estimate for that passage. So we're like not really knowing what we wanted to get ourselves into. So for Palmerston Island was a good stop because that's about halfway in 4 days' time. And Aitutaki is beautiful, but the lagoon is quite shallow to enter there, down to our boat could probably just get in. And Rarotonga down here has got I've flown there as a tourist 2 times before, very, very beautiful, lovely place for a typical resort holiday. But as a cruiser, it has a harbour that's quite exposed if the weather comes around, and it's not really a good place to tie up a boat and relax for a couple of weeks. So Niue is a very interesting place, but again it's got an exposed mooring ball where you've got to go into the dock with your dinghy and then a crane will lift your dinghy out of the water. So Niue is quite tricky, and then if the weather changes you've got to leave quickly for Tonga. Over here in Tonga on the left there's 2 locations there. You can sort of enter in the middle or at the top at Niue Vivau Tonga, which is where we decided to go. Didn't research it too much, just thought, oh yeah, a lot of boats go there, so we'll look at there. So when we left Bora Bora, we told the authorities we might stop in at Palmerston Island, so we had an advance notice of arrival there. And we were just thinking if we got to sea for 4 days and it was, we absolutely weren't sleeping and we were exhausted, we would have stopped at Palmerston Island. But every stopover, land is actually the issue. Staying at sea actually becomes quite peaceful. And what I mean is to stop over somewhere, you've got to book in with authorities. You've got to find a mooring ball. You've got to navigate a strange lagoon. And you've got to do these things. And we thought that we really just wanted to keep things very simple. So once we got to sea, we decided to do it in one hit, which took us 9.5 days, the whole passage from Bora Bora to Tonga. And even though we'd never been to sea for an extended period or more than one night before, we ended up doing 9.5 days. These stopovers are beautiful, but I would have felt more like stopping over there if we had time. Because we left in September, we basically had all of October to get down to New Zealand before the cyclone season starts at the 1st of November, and our insurance company would start worrying about us being in the cyclone area. So we had a month to sail, 10 days to Tonga, then a bit of a rest at Tonga, and then down to New Zealand. And if we'd stopped over and explored all these beautiful little places, yes, it might have been good, but it would have been rushed. We were new, we didn't have a lot of parts on the boat, the water maker wasn't working,
So for us it turned out to be simpler just to sail 9.5 days on our first long passage and do it in one hit. And that's also how I felt we mitigated some of the risks for being a little bit unprepared. So I hope that explains what we're doing, but let's get back to the nice travel vlog and back into the moment and see you on deck.
Good day today. The food stayed in and I managed to even do the dishes. And yeah, it's quite nice settling into it. Today's our second day and I'm still excited.
Are you still excited to sail around the world?
I won't say the world, but let's get to Tonga first.
Good morning. Yesterday afternoon the wind went really light down to virtually nothing, so we've been motor sailing all night, which is quite good because it's quite peaceful. We got to point directly to where we wanted to go, but there was enough wind to run the Genoa all night, so it all worked really well. And the wind's just come up now to about 12 knots, so we're going to hoist the main and we're going to take you through that manoeuvre with us. So let's see how it goes, eh? So for this manoeuvre and hoisting the main, we're going to let go of a preventer that has been holding the Genoa out in the light winds to stop it from flapping too much. We're going to turn into the wind and then we're going to hoist the mainsail, turn back away from the wind because we're going downwind, let the mainsail out and then unfurl the Genoa and get that out to the side again as well. So let's do it. Raise the main. So we had a pretty rugged night. Maybe 2 hours after sunset it could come up to 20, gusting 25. And it, you know, that's not huge, but it was enough for the waves behind to sort of push the boat around and sort of a bit of a broach it feeling every now and then, which was pretty yucky. And being at night we couldn't see the sea conditions, so I ended up running both motors just to give a bit of extra steerage so it could hold its direction, because I didn't like the sideways feel of the boat being sort of twisted sideways a bit in the swells. So not much sleep for us both, but that's the breaks. But the weather's going to drop today and tomorrow should be calm again, and we continue on our way to Tonga. You think it winch the main into the middle, like just lose a bit of speed. Winch the A-check into the middle.
So it turns out this fish was probably too big for us to catch, especially because we couldn't really slow the boat down quick enough. Totally different than when you're fishing off a powerboat. But here's a little fish I caught later.
So I've decided to make some tuna curry from the tuna pita caught the other day. I find the meat really gamey and strong, so I thought a curry would be nice. And now let's go see what Peter's doing.
Oh, hiya. Well, I've just been sitting here giving the autopilot a rest because it's a machine that just works 24/7. So I give it, every 6 hours I give it a 10-minute rest and hand steer myself. I don't know, and just enjoying the peace and quiet. There's nobody out here, there's no rubbish. It's not polluted by traffic or people's attitudes or anything. So I come out here to find some peace, and if you're looking at doing the same, I can tell you there's a lot of peacefulness out there. Good morning from the 4 a.m. and we just jibed above Beveridge Reef and to turn down to sail under Niue, and then we will turn up to sail up to Tonga. Got a setting on predict wind, which helps us with our sailing angles working better, and also there was a reef about 10 nautical miles away that we might have missed, but we're sailing on wind vane mode on the autopilot, which means it adjusts the boat heading due to the wind angle to keep the sails trimmed nicely. So what happens if I went to sleep and the wind changed and it had us heading straight towards that reef and we wake up on top of the reef? So you got to think about, and we are tired, so occasionally you can fall asleep sitting up, which I'd never something I'd do. You just got to think about that possibility when it comes to how you navigate the boat. So that's the 4 a.m. update, and that is Tuesday, and we arrive at Tonga either late Thursday or Friday morning. Night. So we've got 2 days to go to Tonga, and check out how calm it is. So we've been motoring all day. We might have to motor for another 6 or 8 hours, then we might be able to sail again. But we had a couple of things break. So I've been up here with the tools. I'll show you.
So the bolt fell out from where the track meets the sail, holds it together so it can go up the mast, and it rolled down the roof like a marble. And then I also discovered this topping lift, which is a line from the rear of the boom to the top of the mast, and the topping lift supports the weight of this sail when it's lowered. And I didn't know if I could sail without it, so I rang a friend on my sat phone. I thought I could, but I just wanted to be certain, and that's one of the ways I handled being a bit inexperienced, was having a friend handy on a sat phone.
So it's 6 p.m. and we're timing it to get to Vivau, Tonga at 6 a.m. in the morning. So we've got 58 nautical miles to go, so we've got to do about 5 knots, but we're doing about 6.7, so we're going to arrive a little bit early, but I'll slow it down right at the end. And then we've got a 36-mile motor or sail around the island and into the harbour to put the anchor down and relax. It's been a neat passage and we're getting some awesome sailing today. We've sailed on pretty much a beam reach all the way from Niue and right through to Tonga for about 2 or 3 days. Quite spectacular. So we're just driving into the Tonga harbour now. It looks quite volcanic rocks around here, so it's not so sandy looking right here, but looking forward to it. How did you find it, Yogi?
Yeah, good. We're here. It's very exciting.
We have now completed our first offshore passage and arrived in Tonga, a destination that is like stepping back in time to a simpler life. Were we crazy? Somewhat, yes. Was Coco prepared enough with the maintenance equipment and parts? Just. Was the sleep fatigue with just the 2 of us as bad as we thought? At times yes, but overall quite doable. Probably because Coco is such a large, comfortable vessel. Compared to the real sailors of yesteryear, we had a very comfortable helm position. We experienced no sun or wind burn, no wet nights sitting in soaking pants. We spent our time watching the weather or watching movies and having hot showers each day, all the while generally looking after each other with food, drinks and sleep. So thanks for watching, guys. We love you all. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode where we explore Tonga.
So sweet. And I think probably you taste the flavours when you're out in the fresh air.
They are going to take us to their place for some cooking. So we're going to learn how to cook some local dishes today. Let's go. What about some cooking today? Yeah? It's quite fresh. They got it early this morning.
Yeah,
So
it's fresh.
very lucky.
Yeah.
Hello. She likes cooking.
Yep.
Papaya and coconut milk.
Ami.
So what's happening, Peter?
As every real cruiser knows that there's always a blocked toilet.
Have fun.